My name is Callahan, and I am a brand new MVP, Windows SharePoint Services. The services, not the server.
Okay. Well, tell me. So when were you awarded?
I am brand shiny new.
Oh.
I was awarded January 1st
Okay.
of this year. New Year's came in, and I got first thing January 1 was my congratulations email.
Was it a total surprise to you?
It was largely a surprise. I mean, I was sent an email by Melissa Travers, my MVP lead, asking me questions that led me to believe something was going on. But I wasn't sure whether or not it was really going to happen.
Okay.
You know.
So SharePoint, you're clearly doing things in SharePoint. What kinds of things do you do in SharePoint?
Something that takes up more than 10 hours a day every day.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I started out being asked to write a chapter for someone's book about Windows SharePoint Services 2.0 because I'd done some presentations on Windows SharePoint Services in terms of the server. Mm-hmm. It was a free server feature, a server service, just like streaming media or Windows Update Server. And I kind of approached Windows SharePoint Services because I was a server girl.
Right.
And so I was all about the Windows server. And I started writing about and teaching and getting into Windows SharePoint Services 2.0 in that way. Was asked to write about it. Ended up writing a chapter that was supposed to be 50 pages long and turned it into 200. Shout out to the author who let me keep that and not cut it down to 1/4 the size it needed to be. SharePoint is much more than a lot of people think it is. And got asked to write a book for the revision, the new version of SharePoint, which was 3.0, which led to me doing a lot of work in the beta and a lot of work with Windows SharePoint Services, far more than anybody else seemed to be doing because everybody focuses on the paid product.
Right.
And I started working with the communities, with the news groups, because I went to the news groups with version 2 because I had questions. And where do you go? It's a free product. I didn't have a PSS account where I could afford to just call them for information. So I went to the public news groups to ask questions and discovered that I knew a lot more about SharePoint than I thought I did, and I could answer other people's questions too. So I ended up lingering there, helping other people, getting help, learning things. 3 came out. There was a big jump between 2 and 3. Many more questions. It was very complex, more stuff. Started really interacting there. Book came out, created a blog for the book, started getting a lot of traffic because a lot of people, it's just not enough out there to inform people about the SharePoint services. So I have a lot of interaction and support there. Those shout out to my services peeps, they're awesome, all over the world. That kind of rolled into doing presentations at conferences, working in the labs at Tech Ed and things like that.
So you ended up with this. It's what you're describing is almost like this thing that was rolling further and further. Yes.
And it takes up so much more of my day. And as Windows SharePoint Services evolves, even before the next version comes out, they have the infrastructure update. They have free things on CodePlex. All these things you can add. There's Group Board that's available right through Microsoft. All these add-ons. All these things I need to download, install, master, troubleshoot, break to see how it breaks and how to fix it. Writing articles about it so that my peeps know what's going on is just growing and growing until it takes up all my time.
Well, I'm really thankful you're doing it because it sounds like also because you're doing it, other people can find this stuff. They understand more about what's going on behind the scenes, and they know how to integrate it into what they're doing.
Right, both because it's largely under-documented. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons I wrote the book and I'm doing this is I was frustrated. In the beginning, when I was working on 2.0, there was really pretty good documentation out there. Some people would argue, but certainly better than what we have now. To be honest, there's just really big gaps. So when this version came out and I had questions, no one was answering. I had to write a book about it so that at least it was in one place where other people could get it. But the problem with the book, which I'm sure everybody knows who's written one, is there's stuff you didn't get to put in. And stuff you thought of that you wanted to put in that you didn't before it published. So you have to have a blog so you can keep it going. Mm-hmm. And it does finally give myself and the other people like me some place to go for also the uncommon, not mainstream scenario. were scenarios that Microsoft and the documentation teams didn't know were going to be mainstream because they're kind of in a vacuum. They're not out there trying to work day to day with it. So they didn't realize that the thing they didn't document was something that a lot of people are doing. And so I'm sort of filling in that gap. Unbeknownst to me, there's this thing called MVP. And this guy said, you should be one. I'm like, oh, okay. And the rest is kind of history.
Well, and what's interesting about it, now that you've been at this summit, and you've met a lot of people here who are MVPs, is there a quality that you brought to the game that you're seeing in other people?
I don't know if I brought those qualities. I'm not exactly sure.
Well, what are you seeing then?
I didn't know what to expect. I had no idea. All I know is I was really intimidated. You know, I'm just a girl from a small town. And a lot of these guys are big names. The movers and the shakers. They've got the big blogs. They're all in the big news groups. They're main speakers and keynotes practically at these big conferences. It was very intimidating to think that I was going to be with them. Not necessarily one of them. You got to earn your stripes, but I was getting close. And I expected, I don't know what I expected, but I didn't expect how wonderful they were, universally. And not just in my own program group, my own product, but guys from SQL, guys from Exchange, guys from storage, guys from Live. I've not yet met a guy from Zoom, but I'm looking. These people are all equally experts, and because we're all experts, they're so humble. There's no puffing, not a single bit of puffing. And you would have thought with all the egos, they'd be all arrogant at each other. And no, everybody is wonderful, they're open. Amongst the MVPs themselves, there's so much communication. And so little ego, there's practically none. There's so much humility and so much open sharing of information. And so much heated, lively conversation. Because we are really passionate. It's another thing, something I share with them, I have not found somebody yet who's ambivalent about what they're interested in. Every single one of us is really passionate and loyal to the thing that brought us here, because that's why we got here. And I haven't found anybody who'd really rather party than talk about their product.
So would you say that's the key word, passion?
Passion and expertise. But the passion is what gets you there. You can't just put it down. You got to work for a couple more hours before you go to bed. You're thinking about it over lunch. You're thinking about it when you're driving to work. I find myself at home where there's practically no one with my interests. I find myself talking about my product and my interests to people who don't quite care as much. And coming here is like band camp. Finally, I get to talk to the people who care, really care. And we have really intense conversations, and they get it. They get why this matters. They understand how important it is. And not only are these people technically capable, they also understand my next most important thing, which is my peeps, my community. The other people just like me, who just didn't have the time or the resources, or maybe just the sort of knack that I have with the product to get me to the point where I mastered the thing that they're still struggling with. They have communities too. So the two things I have in common with them is my passion about Windows server material or Microsoft products of any sort. The true passion, and then the passion about the people that we're supporting. Because there are a lot of people who go to Tech Ed, go to these big conferences. They're technical, but they're not necessarily, they're more focused on their product and what they can do with it than focused on the people clustered around their table that need to ask a question. They matter. They're the ones who you're selling it to. You know, if Microsoft can't sell this stuff, they're not going to keep improving it. And also, they're the ones that truly, truly use it. I'm not using it in my city government. I'm not using it in my community college. I'm not using it in my business the way they are. They need us, they understand us, they appreciate us, and they are somebody I have my stuff in common with. And now I have that need to help them in common with everybody else here. It's the best experience ever. It's only overshadowed, or at least equal with, the appreciation I have felt for Microsoft, which I also did not expect.
Great. Thanks so much, Callahan.
Thank you.